you've obviously were the first person to commit to common goal. Have you ever experienced things like that? I mean, obviously not in regards to racism, but having been the first person to do anything, people see you stand up and say, you should stick to football. You shouldn't be trying to do this. Stick to trying to win games. Is that something?
Yeah, I'm sure many people have said that or thought that, but you know, I think you have to. I mean, those possible opinions shouldn't stop you for doing what you really want to do. I think the desire to doing something nice is much bigger than the possible negative repercussion that it can bring. And to be honest, with common goal, I don't think there will be, or there have been many negative repercussions, because I think everyone is, you know, very understanding what the idea is and what we're trying to do. So I think it's quite positive. But obviously, and I come back to results or to performances, obviously when you don't win or when you don't play good, you receive critics, and I understand that, and that's fair. What is not nice is when there are like personal critics or because of your race, which is not acceptable.
We spoke to the manager in the summer, and we were talking to Ollie about leaders and leaders on, specifically leaders on the football field and the dressing room. His answer was that he didn't feel like there was enough leaders in society. It was a societal issue. There weren't enough people willing to stand up and say, this has got to change. So we've mentioned some of the footballers there who have chosen to do that. Do you feel the same? Do you feel like there's not enough leaders willing to stand up and want to make a change?
I mean, I think there are different concepts of what a leader is or can be. For me, for example, in a football pitch, a leader is not the one that only wears the armband, but is the one that behaves like a captain, the one that behaves like a leader every day, you know. I don't also believe that someone, because speaking loud or screaming or trying to, you know, say things in this passionate way is more rightful than someone that is doing it with his behavior or her behavior. But I think it's, you know, a lot of people in the world trying to do good things, behaving in a very nice way, but it's human nature to only highlight the negative, right? And to only highlight the one that maybe speak louder and speak in that different way. But I'm trying, or I try always to be positive about what the future, the present is and the future can be. And I think there is still many people in this world trying to do good things and doing it every day, maybe quietly, but consistently. And I believe that in long term, that's much better than screaming 3 or 4 populist sentences.
You said in the past, you talked about the money that's in football. The word that you used at one point was obscene. There was a tweet, I think, sent out by the Common Goal account this week that said that Premier League clubs combined spent £1.7 billion in the summer transfer window, and that 1% of that, obviously the Common Goal number, would have funded primary and secondary education for about 1,800 girls in the Republic of Congo. When you hear those kind of numbers, what do you think about that?
The big numbers. I mean, it's a reality that there is a lot of money in football, and for me the problem is not that. That's not a problem at all, because football generates a lot of things for the world and a lot of passionate and a lot of money. So it's normal that something that big generates a lot of money. Now, if we can use a part of that money to actually invest in football, but in a different kind of football, which is the social football, the social causes, thanks to football, then I think it makes a lot of sense, you know. Football generates a lot of money, there's a lot of transfers going around, but at least if we do a percentage of all that money going directly to football as an investment for the future, also for the next generations to keep loving football as it is, as a game, as a way of life for so many people, not only as a professional sport. I think it makes sense, and that's the idea that we're trying to communicate and the idea that we believe in, and I think it's a very achievable idea, to be honest, because it makes sense and it needs to be done, and it's only a part of that big amount of money that is going on in football. So that's what we're trying to do, and that's what we live in, and I think it needs to be done, and it will be done because it's right.
And obviously you've seen that money in action as well. You've been to, I know you a couple of years ago went to India. You've seen that money and what it can do, and the impact that can have. It must be incredible to be able to get that far and actually see it working.
Yeah, I think that's crucial. You know, when you are committed to a cause or you're committed to someone, that you go there and actually feel involved with what you're doing and what we're trying to help and to collaborate. And yes, I was in India, I was in Colombia visiting Oscar Foundation and Tiempo de Juego, two different organizations that we collaborate with common goal. And it's very nice to see what they're doing, trying to help many kids in difficult areas thanks to football. And there are only 2 out of hundreds of organizations that we collaborate with. But that's the real power of football, you know. There's actually, the way I see it, is 2 different footballs, the professional football and the football as a social tool for change. And what we're trying to do with Common Goal since the beginning is to connect both, and to connect it in a sustainable, efficient, easy and safe way. And again, for me it's very, very visual because I've been there, but it's easy and it needs to be done like that. And I think both help each other, because these people that is actually playing football or being helped through football, they love the sport much more and they will be football fans forever. So I think it's also a sense of connecting football with the people and with the real passion that makes this sport as big. I mean, football without fans, I would not be here, you would not be here, she would not be here, he would not be here, because fans and the passion that football generates is what creates this, you know, biggest force in the world. So we need to realize that if we go so far ahead from the passion, I don't think the future will be great for this sport.
You've been to India, you've been to Colombia. Do you think enough footballers realise what the rest of the world is like beyond huge stadiums, fantastic training grounds, nice houses, cars, that there are situations like that, the ones that you've seen with your own eyes, that need to be solved?
I would like to think so, you know. As I said before, it all depends also in the people that you have around you, in the people that is in your family, your friends, what they tell you, what their interests are, what the football players' interest is. But yeah, I think that, you know, there are many players that they think about those particular cases, and obviously, yeah, if you ask me, I would like that there will be more, obviously, and then instead of 120, we are already 1,000. But I'm not really worried about that, because I think we will be, sooner or later. And what's more important is, again, the perception, that minute of reflection about what can I do from this lucky situation, from this professional football player, to try to, you know, do something that is probably more meaningful than scoring a goal in a final, because scoring a goal in a final is fantastic and it will be remembered forever. But if you can do also a different kind of goal, then much better.